haven't seen it. Chat section. Am I audible? Hear me? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Silent. Am I clearly audible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am. किटे किटे असर ना आज.
Someone is speaking that I am clearly audible. Someone is not speaking that I am not gettable to you. Okay, now it is
मैम क्लियर
clear.
नहीं आ रहा.
Okay, let me check it once more. Hello, now it is audible to all of you. Sir, am I audible to you right now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So I just summarize the previous class concept. Previous class we have started the exception. Point out that what are the main concepts that is this that class. First one is what is exception. Second one is different types of exception, that is checked exception, unchecked exception.
Ma'am, your sound is not coming properly. Hello?
Hello. Now it is clear. Hello. Hello, Potik. Now it is clear.
Yes, but coming very slowly.
I will do for that. Okay, let me reconnect system. Now it is clear to all of you. Potik, Shivdas, Nilesh,
Yes, ma'am.
or us. Now it is audible to all of you. Shivdas, it is audible to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So from your side, do you have any queries regarding this part, that what is exception, what are the types of exception, how we can handle the exception? Actually, we have described 5 keywords to handle the exception. Can anyone from you tell me that what are those keywords? Shivam Raj, Shivam, am I
Try
able to?
finally.
Yes, Potik, tell me.
Try finally. Throw, throws. Rectangle.
Oh. and the last one is catch. But
Catch.
mind it, whenever you will try to explain this keyword, then try must be connected with the catch statement. Okay. So first keyword is try. Whenever you will use try, then you must have to use the catch statement. Okay, or catch keyword. So try, catch, throw, throws, and finally. So what are the tasks that this keyword perform? What are the tasks that this keyword perform? Mithilesh, can you tell me that what is the purpose for try keyword? Yes, Potik Pradhan?
मैम कैच नेसेसरी है फाइनली नहीं रख सकते हैं ट्राई के साथ
Yes, you can also take this finally. But for the beginners, you must try to, there must be some starting point. So for the beginning purpose, you must understand that try is always continue with some catch statement. That is because the logical concept behind it that whenever you are examining some code in the try keyword, that exception, if there is some exception, that exception must be caught in some catch statement. And if you write down the final statement, final, what is the purpose of final statement? That final statement will always be executing. Whether there is an exception or not, final statement will always be in executing mode. Okay. So the main purpose that whenever there is an exception or there is an exception object is created, that exception object must be catched by some statement, or there must be some mechanism that can handle this exception object. Okay, that's why it is told that for a particular try statement, there must be some corresponding catch statement. But if you want to execute the flow of execution of your program,
मैम
then
तो
you can.
डिफॉल्ट तो है ना मैम
Sorry,
डिफॉल्ट कैच तो है ना ऑलरेडी
default catch है तुम्हारे compiler में, but whenever you are write down the program, there must be some structure, na? If you just do all time that the default handler will handle all the things, then there will be no control of your program by your own. Whenever you are a root programmer, that means the total control of your program must be in your hand. And if you format that your source code, if you format that in your way, then you should follow the structural concept. And the structural concept is like that whenever you are examining some code for the corresponding exception, then that code must be extended with some catch statement. If you don't provide the catch statement, the default handler can handle it. But then the control is not in your hand. Okay, the default controller will handle it in its own way. That is predefined. You can't define it in your own purpose. That's why you need to provide some catch statement after the corresponding try statement. Okay, or otherwise if you just use the finally block, that means whatever the instruction you will write down in the finally block, only that instruction will be performed before terminating the program. This is the difference between try catch and try finally. You are right, both this part, that is the catch and the finally, must be associated with some try. But these two parts have several purpose. But for the beginners, there should be some starting point. That's why I am telling all of you that whenever you are writing down your first program for exception handling, always keep in your mind that whenever you are writing down the try statement, there must be some catch statement, so that you can start from that point that whenever there is an exception, that exception will be handled in the corresponding catch statement. In the long run, whenever you will learn there are lots of other keyword or other procedure, then you can do that. Whenever there is a try, you can write down also a finally clause. But the main purpose of finally clause is that before terminating of your program, whatever the instruction that is written inside that finally clause, that must be executed. And you all know, because you all learn about the data structure, that what are the several critical tasks that must be performed before closing your program. Okay, so that particular instruction you must write down in your finally block. Otherwise, you always follow the corresponding catch statement. Clear, Pratik? Any doubt?
डिफॉल्ट कैच के बाद तो प्रोग्राम टर्मिनेट हो जाता है ना.
Yes. There must be there are default exception handler that are present in your Java programming language. But why will depend on the default handler? If you have the provision to handle your program in your own way, then why you will depend on the default handler?
हम वही पूछना चाह रहा डिफॉल्ट के नीचे अगर हम ट्राई के नीचे फाइनली यूज करेंगे तो डिफॉल्ट के बाद तो फाइनली चल रहा है यहाँ पे.
Yes, but the finally has the separate purpose, no? Your finally block has separate purpose for which you are using that particular clause. Remember that statement that I have already told you that finally block will always be in an executing mode. Finally block will always be in your executing mode because it has the highest priority. That whether there is an exception in your program or not, this particular block must be in executing. But this is not similar with the catch statement. What is the purpose of catch statements? The purpose of catch statement is that whenever there is an exception or you are making some abnormal condition that is not logical. So that particular exception, that means an exception object will be created basically. And whenever an object will be created, you must handle this object. Na? For handling this object, you must provide the corresponding catch statement. Otherwise, default handler will handle it. Okay, but if you have the provision to handle it in your own catch statement, then why you will depend on the default handler? Why you will depend on the default handler? Default handler. Clear my point? Or any doubt? Pratik? प्रतीक समझ में आया मैं क्या बोल रही हूँ?
Yes, ma'am.
Finally has separate purpose and catch has separate purpose. Both are not same, but both are associated with the try statement. Okay, both are associated with the try statement. You can use it with the try, but the purpose are different. And Java, this particular programming language, this object-oriented programming language has the specific features. Lots of, that's why it is told to all the programmer of Java programmer basically, that lots of things can be handled by the compiler. Or if you say the default handler, there is a mechanism that the default handler. Okay, just like the garbage collection and any other lots of activities that can be handled by Java programming language by its own. But there is a separate purpose that whenever you are writing down any program, that means the whole control of the program must be on your hand. And for that purpose, Java also provide you lots of facility. So if you are aware of that part, definitely you will use that part in your own way. Otherwise, Java will provide you the protection mechanism, that they will provide you some mechanism that by which you can handle the situation. Okay, this is the purpose. So I think today I will show you, before moving on to the theoretical part, just let me show you the example, one example at least. Let me open the screen. Just go for one way that how these 5 keywords can be used. Screen is visible. The screen is shared to you.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Just share screen is visible now?
No, ma'am. Now it's visible.
Okay, just wait for the compiler. Just wait for the editor basically. So you are familiar with this editor. So first of all, I will show you that what is an exception basically. I'll show you the most familiar do where in the main method we are taking on integer variable, and in this variable we want to initialize the value that is 100 divided by 0. You all know this is an arithmetic exception. Now what is happening after that? We don't know at this point, we don't know that it is an exception. We are trying to do this, and after that we want to print the value of a, and after that there is also another statement that is hello world. Now if you run this or if you execute this program, then look what will happen. Here is an exception is thrown, that is from the main method, that there is a arithmetic exception, that is division by 0. Okay, this is shown to your output screen. Now look at this part, that the next SOP statement, this statement is exception free. There is no error. But since at this line, after executing this line, there is an exception is occurred. So what is happening here? It will terminate your program abruptly, or at this time your program will be terminated. No other remaining statement or remaining instruction will be in an executing mode. So it is a limitation, it is a disadvantage. For this purpose, you need to know about exception handling mechanism. This is the main purpose. Okay, so whenever in your program, at any statement, if there is an abnormal condition that can occur, so at that point your program will be terminated. But before terminating this program, what are the internal procedure that is happening here? An object will be created for this type of exception, and it will be catched by this main method. It is actually thrown to the main method. Why it is main method? Because in this method, this instruction is trying to execute it. Okay, and this the default handler will handle this part, and it will show you the statement, that is exception in thread main java.lang.arithmetic exception. This is the description of the exception, that is division by 0, and your compiler will also show you that in which line the exception is occurred. Okay, and this is all you are familiar with this part, that why this is java.lang.arithmetic exception, because this is a package basically. Okay, so this package is under this lang package, and lang package is under this java package. That's why this is the hierarchical statement is printed here. Okay, but the main purpose of this program is I am just trying to show you that after happening this exception, the remaining statement will not be in executing mode, whether they are correct or not. So if your program have 1000 line of code, and at the line of say 100 there is an exception or there is an abnormal condition, so the remaining other statement will not be in executing. There may be some block, there may be some other method, there may be some other part also in your total application program, so that your the control of this program is not in your hand. After this point, the control is returned to the default handler. So for that purpose, you need to learn about the mechanism that by which you can handle this type of situation. So that you there may be some situation that you are unaware of the fact that this line of code may contain some abnormal condition. So let try to enclose that particular statement or the set of statement in a try block, and you will put the corresponding catch block also, so that if there is an exception is occur in that line of code, so then an object will be created and that object will be thrown to the corresponding catch statement. Okay, so that the remaining section of your source code will not be hampered. So try to do it. Let's try to do this within the try block. Okay, so these two lines may contain some error, so I am trying to enclose this part. But for the beginner, just try to understand it that whenever you are using the try block, you need to write down corresponding catch block. Otherwise, the control of this program will go to the
হ্যালো
yes. Who's
ম্যাম
speaking?
বলছি যে এটা আপনি তো ওখানটা লিখে দিলেন 2 লাইনের প্রোগ্রাম বলে, ওখানে বোঝা যাচ্ছে যে ওই সেকেন্ড লাইনে ভুল আছে। তো এবারে যদি ওটা আরো
Yes.
বেশি অনেক বড় প্রোগ্রাম হতো
Yes,
তাহলে
yes,
ওটা মানে
you can include that total section within the try block also.
মানে
যদি
কোথায়
বড়
ভুল আছে? হুম।
যখন তুমি একটা প্রোগ্রাম করছো, কোথায় ভুল আছে তুমি যদি ভুল আছে জানো, তাহলে ডেফিনেটলি তুমি সেটা করবে না।
না সে তো করবো না, আমি ওটার
করবে না।
জন্যই তো
এবার
চাই।
তোমার
হ্যাঁ
হতে পারে কি, তোমার একটা পার্টিকুলার জায়গায় ডাউট হতে পারে, ঠিক আছে? যখন তুমি কোনো রিয়েল লাইফ অ্যাপ্লিকেশন করবে, তখন কি হতে পারে যে ধরো তুমি কোনো সেট আপ ডেটা নিচ্ছ, তুমি বাউন্ডারিটা জানো না, তখন তোমার মনে হতে পারে কি তুমি অ্যাজুম করে নিচ্ছ যে 1000 বাউন্ডারির মধ্যে এটা কমপ্লিট হয়ে যাবে, বাট বাউন্ডারি এক্সিড করে গেল, সেটা তোমার হাতে নেই। At present you are not aware of the fact that whether the total information is under your control or not. এখানে 2 লাইন বা 1000 লাইন বলে মানে কোনো ম্যাটার নয়। এখানে আমি ছোট প্রোগ্রামে দেখাচ্ছি বলে তোমাকে 2 লাইনে দেখাচ্ছি। তোমার অ্যাপ্লিকেশন প্রোগ্রামে এটা যদি 100 লাইনও হয়, তাহলে সেই 100টা লাইনও তুমি কিন্তু ট্রাই ব্লকের মধ্যে রাখতে পারো, ঠিক আছে? ট্রাই ব্লকের মধ্যে তুমি সেই পোর্শনটাই রাখবে যেখানে তোমার ডাউট আছে। তোমার ধরো 1000 লাইন অফ কোড, সেখানে ঠিক আছে, সেখানে তোমার পার্টিকুলার 10টা লাইন মনে হলো এখানে আমার এরর হতে পারে, এক্সেপশন হতে পারে, তাহলে তুমি সেই পার্টিকুলার সেকশনটাকে ট্রাই ব্লকের মধ্যে রাখবে। ক্লিয়ার? এবং তোমার প্রোগ্রামিং এ যদি তোমার মনে হয় যে এমনও তো হতে পারে যে প্রথম 10টা লাইনের মধ্যে তোমার মনে হলো যে এখানে এক্সেপশন হতে পারে, তারপরের 10টা লাইনে আবার তুমি একদম শিওর যে কোনো এক্সেপশন নেই, তারপরে রিমেনিং আরো হচ্ছে 30 লাইনস তোমার মনে হতে পারে যে এখানে এক্সেপশন হতে পারে, বাট ইউ ক্যান ইউজ মোর দ্যান ওয়ান ট্রাই ক্যাচ স্টেটমেন্ট অলসো ইন ইউর কোড। ওকে, সেই পসিবিলিটিও তোমার জাভা প্রোগ্রামিং ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে রয়েছে। ক্লিয়ার?
मैम ट्राई के अंदर एसओपी चलेगा वो?
सॉरी, ट्राई के
इंट
क्या
एक
बोल रहे हो?
एक्सेप्शन के नीचे एसओपी चलेगा?
एक्सेप्शन के नीचे?
ट्राई
Yes,
ब्लॉक में?
yes, you can use the you can use the SOP under the try block. Whatever the statement that is written in your source code, that you can enclose within the try block.
वो रन करेगा?
Yes, why it is not running? This what is actually I'm not getting your question basically. You are asking for this SOP, that is
Yes ma'am.
SOP with A.
Yes ma'am.
No. Why this SOP will be executing? Because the exception is occur at this point. This value of A is not defined here. So if you're not able to get this value, then why this SOP will be executing? This particular code, whenever you are executing this code, at this line an exception will be occurred. So the remaining section will not be executing. But why I am trying to enclose these two statements within a single try block? Because these are logically related basically. Because here we are trying to initialize one variable and try to want to initialize the value of some arithmetic calculation in this variable and want to print it. want to print it. That's why we are enclosing these two statements within this try block. Clear? This statement will not be executing because this value, the value of A is not defined. That will be an error. Okay. So try to, if you want to handle it, what you need to do? You need to write down the corresponding catch statement. Okay. Syntax for catch statement is, after the catch statement, within the first bracket, you need to write down the exception type as well as its object. Basically, this is the difference here. And after that, you need to write down idea. Here we are writing down the object as a E, so I will just write down the name of it. Now try to execute this program and do what is happening. So for the first run, whenever we are running this code, what is happening? Only this type of statement is printed there. Okay, that is at line 12 there is an error and the error type is division by 0. But the remaining this hello world statement, whether it is correct or not, this statement is not executing at that time. Okay, but if you use this try and catch statement and after happening of that exception, the remaining statement, that is this SOP, is executing now. This is the purpose of using the try catch statement, or this is the utility of exception handling basically. So that whenever there is an exception in a line of code in your source code, the remaining statement will not be hampered. And you can say that your program will not terminate it abruptly. Clear? Why we will use this try catch statement? It is clear to all of you?
Ma'am, if I put hello world SOP in try block,
Then it will not be executing. Then this part will not be in executing. Because there, if you put this SOP in the try block, that means the scope of this statement or instruction is within this block. So after executing this statement, what is happening? Exception is already occurred. So remaining section will not be executing. It will search for the corresponding catch block. It will search for the corresponding catch block, and if you don't provide any corresponding catch block, then it will try for the corresponding finally block. So that whatever the instruction that are performed inside this particular two block, that will be executing only. That's why I am telling you that whenever there is a doubt in your mind that there will be an exception or there will be an error in a line of code, put all those lines in a single block, and that block must be enclosed with the corresponding try statement. Okay, so that if there is 1,000 line of code and you are in a doubt with the 100 line of code, then try to put this 100 lines of code in a try block, so that the remaining 900 line will be in an executing mode. And you must put this line of code outside of this block now. Otherwise, they will not be in executing. Because it is the normal rules for any programming language that whenever there is an abnormal condition, the program will be interrupted first. After that, it will be terminated. Okay, it will not continue its normal execution. That's why it is an exception. It is an abnormal condition. Clear? Clear to all of you? Any doubt? Hello, Pratik Mondol, are you asking something?
no ma'am, no doubt.
If you have any doubt, you can tell me. You need to understand the purpose of this mechanism. Pratik Pradhan, any doubt? Pratik, I'm not getting you. Any doubt till now? Okay, I think there is some problem. Putin is not answering. And any doubt from the remaining student for this tie and catch statement? Monisha Kumari?
No.
Monisha? Monisha, are you able to hear me? Okay. They are not answering. Actually, this is the problem. Not getting that. Whether all of you are understanding this part or not. Any query from the remaining student, those who are in silent? Tomita,
Ma'am,
can you hear me?
Yes,
hello,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Any problem?
No, ma'am. No problem. Understood.
Okay. So now we are moving on to the next section.
হ্যালো
Actually,
হ্যালো
yes, Pratik.
তাহলে আপনি বললেন যে মানে যেখানে ভুল থাকবে ওইটার জন্যই ট্রাই ক্যাচটা ব্যবহার করবো, তাহলে আর বাকি যেগুলো ঠিক থাকবে সেগুলো মানে আউটপুট হিসাবে আসবে, আপনি
Yes.
এটাই বললেন? হ্যাঁ। তাহলে ওই হ্যালো ওয়ার্ল্ডটা যদি ওই ট্রাই এর মধ্যে দিই, আমি তো বুঝতে পারছি না যে কোথায় ভুল আছে। মানে 100 লাইনের মধ্যে ধরুন একটা 100 লাইনের প্রোগ্রাম, ওখানে ধরুন প্রথমে একটুখানি পার্ট ভুল আছে, তারপরে বাকিগুলো মানে ঠিক আছে। তখন তাহলে তো ম্যাডাম মানে আউটপুটটা তো তাহলে পাবো না, মানে যদি ট্রাই এর মধ্যে যদি থাকে ওই বাকি পার্টটা, সেই বাকি পার্টের তো আউটপুটটা আমরা পাচ্ছি না।
হ্যাঁ, বাকি পার্টের আউটপুটটা পাবে না। এখানে তোমার ইন্টেলেকচুয়াল যে পার্টটা সেটা তোমাকে কাজে লাগাতে হবে। আমি কি করেছি দেখো, যেখানে আমি 100 ডিভাইডেড বাই 0 করেছি, সেই ভ্যারিয়েবলটা আর সেই ভ্যারিয়েবলটা যেখানে শো হয়েছে, শুধুমাত্র সেই দুটো সেকশনই টাই বক্সের মধ্যে রেখেছি। এটার সাথে আমি যে হ্যালো ওয়ার্ল্ড এসওপিটা ইউজ করেছি সেটা কি কোনোভাবে রিলেটেড নয়? তাহলে যখন ওটা রিলেটেড নয় তখন ওটাকে আমি আউটসাইড অফ দ্য ব্লক রাখতেই পারি। আমি কেন ওই পার্টিকুলার স্টেটমেন্টটাকে ওই দুটো ইনস্ট্রাকশনের সাথে রাখবো যেখানে আমার ভ্যারিয়েবলটা একটা আনডিফাইন্ড ভ্যালুকে ইনিশিয়ালাইজ করছে আর সেই ভ্যারিয়েবলটা শো করছি। তাহলে আমি মানে সেইভাবেই চুজ করব। দেখো, ফুল কন্ট্রোল বা ফুল তুমি তখনই তোমার হাতে রাখতে পারবে যখন ওভারঅল প্রোগ্রামটার উপর তোমার কন্ট্রোল রয়েছে। ঠিক আছে? তুমি রিলেটেড যে টাস্ক গুলো সেগুলোকেই একটা ব্লকের মধ্যে রাখবে, তুমি নন রিলেটেড টাস্ক গুলোকে ডেফিনেটলি রাখবে না। এখানে যেহেতু 3টে স্টেটমেন্ট আমরা ইউজ করেছি, দেখো এই 3টে স্টেটমেন্টে কি, একটা হচ্ছে এ ভ্যারিয়েবলকে আমি 100 ডিভাইডেড বাই 0 করেছি আর এই ভ্যারিয়েবলটাকেই আমি শো করেছি। তাহলে এই দুটো স্টেটমেন্ট আমার রিলেটেড, কিন্তু এই দুটো স্টেটমেন্টের সাথে এই স্টেটমেন্টটা কি রিলেটেড কোনোভাবে হ্যালো ওয়ার্ল্ডটা? নয়। তাহলে আমি এই স্টেটমেন্টটাকে এটার মধ্যে রাখবোই না। লজিক্যালি টোটাল জিনিসটাকে ভাবো, তুমি সেই সেট অফ ইনস্ট্রাকশনটাকেই রাখবে যে সেট অফ ইনস্ট্রাকশনটা হচ্ছে তোমার রিলেটেড টু এ পার্টিকুলার টাস্ক। And if you have any doubt in your mind that whenever this set of instruction or that task will be in an executing mode, there may be some abnormal condition, there may be some chance of arising some abnormal condition. So you need to put down that set of statement inside the tie block only. No, not the other set of statement that are not related with that task. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
You must have that idea. Actually, whenever you will deal with this part, you will deal with some real life application, then you will get far better idea about this. But whenever you are performing, just try to incorporate the software engineering concept here. Okay, that's so that whenever you are just making any software, what you have done at the very beginning, you need to perform some SRS, software requirement specification. And what you have done in this SRS, You need to find out the functional requirement, you need to find out the non-functional requirement. And whenever you are collecting the functional requirement, each and every functional requirement will be a module in your modular approach. Okay. And then you need to find out whether this module is dependent or interdependent or interdependent. That means you need to incorporate the concept of cohesion and coupling there. And based on the fact that whenever you are performing this design aspect, then only you will go for the coding section. At the very beginning, you will not go for blindly go for the coding section or implementation section. There are lots of other tasks that you need to complete before moving on to the executing section. So it is clear to you, that means the programmer, they are very low level worker in a software company. Each and everything is predefined there. There may be some software analysis, there analyst basically, who will perform a developer section. There are several part of the team. They will do all the tasks for you. And whenever you will make some program of that or coding of that section, that means each and everything is clear to you. What is the dependency? What are the interaction between each module? What are the several input to a module? That means the DFD. Whenever the design part is complete, then only you can move on to the coding section now. So before moving on to the coding section, you have a clear DFD in your hand. You know that what are the data that will flow for a particular process from one process to another process. What are the functional requirement of your software. So you will aware of that fact that what are the activity that are correlated. If there is a set of correlated activity and you are making coding of that part, that means at that time you need to bring that set of instruction in a single unit, and that single unit must be incorporated with this type block. They are related basically. They are dependent. And they are not dependent. There is no correlation between these two modules or these two set of instruction. Then you don't need to write down that statement inside the type block. Clear? Now it is clear. Puti?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. I'll show you quickly the uses of throw and throws. Now look what is happening. We are using this particular part inside this coding also. That look at this. This particular method there is some rules basically that I'll show you the syntax basically, that how we will throw a new exception. Okay, I am providing you the name of Poti because today Poti. So now what is happening here? I am just inside a method. I am just throwing a new exception. Okay, that is this is actually the example for description of that exception basically. Okay, this is the syntax for throwing new exception. Look at this. This exception type is arithmetic exception, and these are the description of the exception. That is, whenever there is a exception, that is division by 0, at the end of the executing of this program, you are getting the scheme as a division by 0. Okay, here it will show you the name, that is Potik. This is the main thing. Okay, so that whenever you want to create your own exception, that is what you need to do. You need to use the throw keyword. After that, since you are creating a new object, you need to use this new keyword. Then you need to mentioning here that what type of exception you are creating. Here I am just using the same exception, that is arithmetic exception. And after that, this is the syntax that you need to provide the description of that type of exception. Here I am writing down the name, that is Potik. Okay, clear? After that, definitely there will be. Now look at this. What is happening here? Inside a method ABC, I am creating a new exception. Inside the method ABC, I am creating a new exception. But I am not providing here any exception handling mechanism. I am not providing here any exception handling mechanism. So what is the meaning of this part? That is, whenever this ABC method is called by some other method, then this exception will also affect that particular code. Okay. So for that purpose, you need to provide here another keyword. Know that this ABC method will contain some exception. Clear? So this is the syntax for creating a new exception, and this is the syntax for letting other methods or other set of source code to know about the fact that this ABC method is containing some exception. So that whenever this method will be called by other method, that method must provide some exception handling mechanism. Clear? So I am just removing this section, or you can use it inside this part also. Inside the type statement, I am just removing this section. I'm just okay. Clear? After that, I am just executing this program. Look what will happen. Look here. Here, what is happening? I am creating one method. Since we will call this method from this void main, and this method is within the same class, that's why I need to make this method as a static. Okay, there is no restriction or specific rules that I need to create this method as a static by default. No rule for that. You already know it. I am not repeating this part. What I have done here, I am creating one method, and inside that method, I just throw one new exception. And the exception description is Potik. I have written here. Okay, and to let the other method or other set of instruction to know that this method will containing some exception, that's why I am creating here, I am using here another keyword, that is throws. Okay, this is the syntax that you need. Whenever you are using this throws keyword, you need to provide the type of the exception also. Okay, so I am providing here the type of the exception. And inside the main method, since this ABC method doesn't handle the exception which one it is created, then we need to examine it within the try block, because there is some exception and we know it by this throws keyword. So I am putting down this ABC method, that whenever this method is called, this section, this instruction is enclosed with the try block. And if there is a try block, then there must be a corresponding catch block. That is within this syntax is similar with the previous one. That's why I am not repeating it. And look what is happening. Since this method, whenever this line is executing, control will go to this particular method, and in this method they are getting that a new arithmetic type of exception is happening there. And here I am providing the new description, that is the user defined description, that is Potik. That's why whenever this statement is executing, or this catch statement is executing, what is happening? It will providing you the stack trace, that is where the exception is happened. That is from java.lang.arithmetic exception, just like the previous one. but the description is now your user defined. It will be not the division by 0 or other arithmetic type of exception. Here I am given Potik, that's why in the output screen it is given as a Potik. And the remaining section is also executing here because we are enclosing the corresponding exception block inside the try block. Clear? That how you will create your new exception and how you can handle it. Clear? Any doubt? Any doubt, students? These two are basically the utility of throw and throws. That you can throw your new exception and you can also let other method to know you are creating an exception but you are not handling it. Any doubt? Any doubt, students? Hello. Shomita, any doubt?
No, ma'am. No doubt.
Okay, anyone from Saurabh? Can you hear me, Saurabh Patra?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubt till now?
No.
Okay, fine. So I am ending this class right now and we'll meet tomorrow, okay? Try to study this part and if you have any more query, then definitely I will explain it to you in the next class. Okay?